Hey guys, J-Man here. All right, we are in the Phantom Zone. This is a segment that I used to do a while back. Actually, Steve, Sean, and I used to do something called the Phantom Zone. It was a blog, and we would talk about geek stuff, all the kind of stuff that we do here. And we decided to bring that back. So there's going to be some changes to some of my programming. The Danger Room is still going to be on, and the Danger Room is going to go through some changes as well. The Danger Room is going to be probably Fridays, but and it's going to be open panel from the beginning. So instead of bringing in people later on in the stream, the Danger Room will be fully with everybody right away. I'll put the link immediately, and we'll just have open conversations from the get-go. We're going to see how that works out for a little bit. And then I'm going to I'm adding a couple of other shows that are going to deal with different topics. So Phantom Zone is going to be a place where we're going to pick one topic and we're going to just talk about that topic and that's it. So it's going to be pretty specific. So today we're going to be ranking the Sean Connery, James Bond movies. We're going to include Never Say Never Again, just because I'm pretty sure I know where that's going to be for everybody. But anyway, we're going to include it in the ranking. So I've got my ranking here. Steve and Sean have their rankings. So that's the topic for today. The Sean Connery Bonds. That's all we're covering for this stream. Danger Zone will be Danger Zone. Danger Room. The Danger Room will be Fridays. I'm not sure exactly if it's every Friday. We're going to see how it goes. And that's going to be open discussion from the beginning. So Danger Room is going to from now on be a completely open discussion. I will post a link in the chat. We will just talk right from the beginning. But this segment is going to be just us talking about a specific topic only. So let's bring in Steve. What's going on, dude?
Hey, man.
Hey.
Connery.
Scene.
Yes.
And Sean is not and Sean is not here yet. We're going to talk a little bit about our experience with James Bond before Sean comes in.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was just letting everybody know about the program changes. We're gonna have the Danger Room is gonna be open from now on. So Steve, if you ever want to come in, you can come in. If you don't want to come in, that's fine too, because I know our schedules it's a little bit tight sometimes with everybody. So we're gonna just play very loose. Danger Room is gonna just be very loose. Sorry, I'm getting a message here. Yeah, that's fine. So Danger Room is going to be loose, but these Phantom Zone segments, and where I'm adding another show called The Panelists, those are going to be very specific. Panelists is going to be discussing all the geek stuff that's come out throughout the week. So how Danger Room, the first half used to be discussing the geek stuff, and then the next latter bit would be bringing in people. That's going to be the panelist, and bringing in people is going to be the entire Danger Room segment. So that's open to you, of course. Anytime you want to come for that, you can, and you can come and go as you please on those segments. But let's say hey to everybody. We got Caleb, who is here pretty early on. Thank you so much for dropping by. Skeptic, it's great to see you. Timothy Dalton's your favorite. Okay. We're not going to rank the Timothy Dalton movies because it'll
There's
be
only two.
Arkham Gaming. Now Skeptic, you should have said rank the George Lazenby ones, and that would have been, or the Woody Allen ones.
Yeah.
Steve needs his own talk show. Who's he gonna talk to? He's gonna talk to me, and I'll just troll on his. I'll troll on his channel. I'll be, oh, talk to me.
Well, I'd have to bring you in.
Steve is a writer. He's always working on stuff like that, and he does a lot of reviews for the Action Elite and the Movie Elite and that kind of stuff as well. So Steve's around. You can we've got his links in the description as always, and you can check out his stuff. If you join the Action Elite and the Movie Elite Facebook groups, Steve does a lot of stuff for that, and those are all articles and that kind of thing. And we're both going to be sort of rotating on the Action Elite's YouTube channel as well. But so that's what Steve's up to usually. And then Sean is kind of sort of like we just kind of get Sean when we need someone to bring us down a notch into the real world. Sometimes we get too crazy, and then it's like Sean kind of helps us out here.
Yes, Sean. I'm sure Caleb has already linked Sean with the word hater somewhere.
I think it was Caleb he's like hater Sean, but like Sean buys a lot of stuff. It's tough to be a hater when you're spending money buying all this stuff. Now, I had an argument with somebody the other day, and they're like, I don't know what they were saying. I'm thinking, and they said I was actually toxic, which is hilarious to me. I'm like, I'm toxic. I'm like, I go to the comic shop every week for 30 years. I've never missed a freaking Wednesday or Tuesday, and it's like, I'm like, I literally buy everything. It's like it's impossible to really kind of win an argument against me because not only have I bought the movies you're talking about, I've also bought everything else. Like I own every James Bond movie there is, period. So people are telling me, I like Daniel Craig better than Sean Connery, or I like Sean Connery better than Roger Moore, or I like Daniel Craig better than Timothy Dalton. Like, look, you can have your favorites. I'm going to tell you my favorites, and they may not align with your favorites. But the thing is that I've read almost all the books. I'm like 2 books away from reading the entire Ian Fleming collection. I have Roger Moore's autograph that my mom got when she was a teen, and she liked The Saint. That's how friggin' far back that goes. And she gave that to me. And hey, Gray Malcolm, what's going on, dude? We're ranking the Sean Connerys today. So Gray Malcolm's going to be joining us on the panelists. That's going to be Sunday. That's going to be the Sunday. That's going to be a Sunday show. That's the panelist. And then Gray Malcolm, I don't know if you know this, but Danger Room is going to be going into an open panel discussion from the get-go. So it's gonna be tomorrow. First installment of the new Danger Room is tomorrow, and that's gonna be open to everybody. I'm just gonna post a link right away, and we're just gonna go at it. And it's gonna be open geek talk about whatever you guys want. So you're always welcome to that. And then Gray Malkin, you're definitely gonna be one of the main panelists on the Sunday show. We're gonna talk about X-Men comics, and that's gonna be comics. Movies, TV shows, cartoons, all that stuff. And that's going to be the expert panelists talking about this kind of stuff. So we can get people, it's cool. You'll be there. Looking forward to it, buddy. All right. So we're arguing, and I'm like, listen, I own every James Bond movie. I've got soundtracks, right? I've got, I've got the ringtone, I got the cars, from some of the films, like if you're going to get into this debate here, you better come prepared because, this little guy's like, I like Daniel Craig and that's it. It's like, well, I'm sorry then, how can I talk to you? Like, we gotta compare notes. Like if you're a super hardcore fan, then let's talk it through. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta put your money where your mouth is, right? Like people freely use words all the time. I was actually talking to someone, and the word toxic was actually used, not to describe me, but we brought it up. Mm-hmm. And I sort of said that, people are throwing around all these very powerful words very loosely these days. Right. And when you start doing that, you diminish the power of the word. So you keep calling everyone toxic, then no one's toxic because you like literally you can't have that many people toxic. Like, it seems to be the stat, what the modus operandi now is. I don't like your opinion. You're toxic.
Right. No, right. That's exactly. That is what happened in the situation I'm describing.
And it's ridiculous because that's not what the word is. Toxic. Like when you've ever used the word, that person's in a toxic relationship, usually it's abusive, right?
Right.
And now they're just co-opting these very powerful words for their own, just to make themselves feel good. It's stupidity on a grand scale. And, the problem is that the more they use it, the more diminished their opinion becomes, the more diminished their yelling and screaming becomes. Because whatever.
What is this for? We're talking today about the James Bond, Sean Connery movies, ranking the Sean Connery movies. And let's bring Sean in. What's going on, Sean?
What's up?
Hey,
Sean.
All right. So,
Sean, how many toxic people have you talked to today?
Myself.
Oh no, no. All right, so again, we got a couple of people who just joined chat. Danger Room is going to be moving to a new time slot, and it's going to be open forum. So the Danger Room is going to be completely open from the beginning. I will put a link in, and we're going to just talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. Sean, Steve, you're invited. If you wanted to pop in, cool. If you don't have the time, that's cool. I know you guys have busy schedules. Phantom Zone we're bringing this back. First episode on this channel. Bringing this back. This is going to be a focus topic. So we're going to do the James Bond rankings. Let's do a really quick. I'll start. I was not a James Bond person growing up at all, so I was not into it. My god brother, his cousin, weird. She gave me Goldfinger, License to Kill, Living Daylights. I want to say one other one, but maybe that was it. On VHS, she gave me hey Anthony, what's going on? So she gave me these VHS ones I never had. So my first James Bond happened to be License to Kill. That was the first James Bond movie I'd ever seen. I love Octopussy, but we're gonna do a Roger Moore breakdown on that. Hey Zack Snyder fan, when is Danger Room's gonna be tomorrow? Danger Room's gonna be tomorrow, and that's gonna be open forum. So yeah, so basically, I that was the first one I'd ever seen, and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. So I really liked Timothy Dalton. I thought this guy was pretty stellar. You know, I liked both movies, Living Daylights as well. I didn't know the order to watch them. Like I didn't know Living Daylights was supposed to be before. I just watched that. And I thought, oh, this is really good. So I really liked both those movies, and then I just kind of didn't go anywhere with James Bond, and then. I didn't see GoldenEye in the theater, though my friends, I didn't know you guys at the time, but my friends, who are still my friends from that time, they went to go see it and they loved it. And I just didn't get into it. And then Daniel Craig, Casino Royale was the first one I saw in the theater. The first James Bond movie I saw in the theater. I really liked it. The ending, we talked about this, it gets a little bit long-winded. I've gone back and I've read all the books except for the last two, so I understand why they did what they did in Casino Royale. Whatever it is. But so after that, I started to get into James Bond, and I bought that Blu-ray set, that mega set, the complete series. It didn't have Spectre, but you can add Spectre, or whatever. So then I rewatched them all, and I just love them all so much. And I actually like every James Bond movie. I actually do really like every James Bond movie for some reason or another. There's action, I like the spy stuff. Some I like more than others. Some actors I prefer more than the others. I absolutely love George Lazenby in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I think that might be the best James Bond movie, to be quite frank and honest with you. It's not it might be my favorite too, to be honest. I don't know. It's right up there in the top 5. We're never going to do a George Lazenby countdown because there's only the one movie. But I absolutely love it. Diana Rigg is the damn best Bond girl, period. That's not a discussion. I really, really enjoy all the Bonds. But anyways, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is awesome. So yeah, I've watched them all several times, and I read all the books except for the last couple. And I've got soundtracks, and I've got some of the cars from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I have all the cars. I got the classic Aston Martin too, but I like the green one that he had in Majesty's. I've got Diana Rigg's car from that, Teresa's car. So I love the series. So that's kind of my. So I did me first because I know you guys have more of a history with it. My history began about 10 years ago or whatever, and that's where it started. Now, Steve, where did your history begin?
Well, in the theater, I saw my parents took me to see my all-time favorite Bond. Living My Time TV.
Nice. That's great.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And it was For Your Eyes Only, which I think I was like 3 or 4. I want to say 4. But like it's insane to think that a 4-year-old's going to go to that movie and watch it. But like I fell in love with Bond right off the bat, and I was lucky that my parents were big Bond fans because every subsequent Bond film I went and saw in the theater. The only ones I missed, I think, were License to Kill, and Tomorrow Never Dies, which is to this day the only Bond film I've still never watched. I never.
Which one? Tomorrow Never Dies?
Yeah.
It's all right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right. Like, I'm gonna tell you, I like anything just because. So wait, For Your Eyes Only? Was that your first ever? Was that I'm sorry? Was that your first Bond movie or first theater or both?
First Bond movie in the theater. First Bond movie in the theater.
So your first ever introduction was in the theater For Your Eyes Only is the damn best movie ever.
Yeah.
Like that's a 10 out of 10 action movie. I don't care who you are. That's crazy, Steve. I don't think I knew that. I knew it's gone to that's awesome. That's a great first one to see. Action packed. The girl is the freaking best in that, man. Roger Moore is like on fire coolness. Yeah, that's crazy. So then from that point on, you guys always went together as a family or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see, for some reason, License to Kill, I think it's because it was an R. Yeah, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is fantastic.
License to Kill was an R? I like The World Is Not Enough, but we'll cover that on another stream. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, it was an R, I'm pretty sure. But, I saw everything since then. For some reason, like I said, I didn't see Tomorrow Never Dies. World Is Not Enough, I did see in the theater by myself at Scarborough Town Center.
Oh my God, I know.
And I walked through a blizzard to see Die Another Day. True story. I walked through a blizzard in London, Ontario to go see Die Another Day. Bond has always been with me. I've always loved the Bonds. I have all of them on Blu-ray. I don't have the nice set that you got. I got the individual ones when they were coming out, the little sets, and I will read the. Some of them do. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great. Yeah, one. For Your Eyes Only, we'll get into that when we do more. But I have so much to say about that movie. I haven't read the books, but I have soundtrack. I have some of the things. I paid almost $100 for the gun in the ice poster from Die Another Day.
Oh, that's a cool poster.
Fire and Ice.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have the poster book, which you have.
We both have. You got that for me, right?
Yeah. I mean,
the James Bond posters are 10 out of 10. Oh, yeah. At least, I don't remember the artist's name because I'm bad with names. Somebody will tell me. That guy and his paintings are just, it literally is like Pulp Fiction. Is it not? It's literally pulp. Hey, Ambassador, what's going on, dude? It's literally like friggin', like a Pulp Fiction cover come to life. You know what I mean? It's just so good.
Yeah.
I've got The World Is Not Enough, 27 by 41 sheet.
Yeah. That's an awesome one.
That's an awesome and I've got the On Her Majesty's Secret Service reprint poster, so it's just for fun to have it. So the only original poster was World Is Not Enough, and that when I got into Bond, that was literally the only poster that was somewhat affordable to get a proper original, because I don't like buying reprints, but for Majesty's I just got the reprint because I'm like, what the hell, I may as well have it. Okay. So Sean, what's your history?
Well, Bond's always been around for me. I watched most of them on TV. My first theater Bond is really GoldenEye. But
right.
But I mean, Roger Moore was the thing in the 80s, and they played his stuff all the time on ABC, and of course they played Sean Connery stuff as well. And I couldn't distinguish the difference between Sean Connery and Roger Moore for a time on TV. It was just James Bond. I know they kept switching up Felix Leiter actors, but it's just always been around. And I didn't quite understand the history and weight of it till I was older. And I don't know if I told you. I'm pretty sure I told you guys. I'm named after Sean Connery. So my mom,
I knew that.
Yeah, my mom's from Guyana, and Guyana gained independence from England in 1966. But before that, I guess they played the first 4 Bonds with Connery in it, and they played them supposedly to show English superiority and all that, even though they're Hollywood movies. And all my mom got out of it was Sean Connery is handsome, and what a beautiful name. If I have a son, I'll name him Sean, and that's how I. So awesome, there you go. Man. So all of your all of your bullshit like backfired on you. It's like, yeah, but Bond. I mean, I used to watch James Bond Jr. when that was out. That's a show everyone's forgotten now.
I
It's the
remember
only Bond toy line really. Is those
Bond,
things, right?
James
Bond
Jr.
Jr. Look out,
Yeah.
he's coming through. He's gonna jump through. Anyway,
Yeah.
I watched every single episode only because I thought maybe one episode they'd show his uncle James Bond, because they kept talking about it,
Right.
and they never did. And I was like, oh, I just want to see Bond or something, or one of the villains. All the villains were cartoony. So yeah, Bond's just always been a sort of like perennial franchise. It's just always been in the house on TV or on VHS or DVD. I collected most of the DVDs, and then I broke down and bought the big set. This one has Spectre on it.
Yeah.
It was on sale at Walmart one day. I was like, screw it, man, Blu-ray. But and it's cool to have them all, because they're all the special, they all have the special features and stuff. So yeah, and Bond is like super influential in almost every action movie, period. I mean, like it evolved its action as it went, and it evolved action movies as it went too. So
good point. Yeah. Okay. All right. Robert McGinnis. There you go. Booyah. Thank you so much. Could not be reached for further comment. I love your name, by the way. That's great. All right. Let's check out my boy here, Robert McGinnis, and see what else he's done. Robert McGinnis. There you go. Yeah, here he is. Okay. Let's share the screen for 2 seconds. Let's go to images.
Oh man.
Oh my God, these are so good. Everything's good. Like, look at this. Like,
yeah.
Like all this kind of stuff. I hope this doesn't end the stream though. Now that I'm thinking about it. All right, we're gonna remove that. You guys know what we're talking about. It's all good stuff. It's all part of Bond,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Living legend, yes. Double C, yes, for sure.
Always will be a little.
James Bond Jr., nice. Sean Connery passed away.
Unfortunately passed away.
Like during the COVID.
Last year.
During COVID.
Yeah, during COVID or whatever, I think.
He was ill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact date, but it was during the coup.
7 months ago. Towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty, as they say in Nacho Libre. Is that what they say? The nitty gritty. I think he says it in Nacho Libre. Everything you need to know from life, you can learn from Nacho Libre. Okay, we're gonna include Never Say Never Again in this list. So we've got 7 films to consider.
Okay.
Okay. Does everyone have their lists?
Yep.
I wrote it.
I'll make one up.
Oh, okay. Well, you can go last then.
Yeah.
We're gonna. Okay. So I mean, I didn't even need to write them down. I wrote them down just in case if I forgot a title or something. I would say the worst one is gonna be Never Say Never Again. I think it's an obvious choice. It's sort of a remake of Thunderball. We know it's a remake of Thunderball because of the whole fiasco of Thunderball and who owns the film rights and the character rights and the rights to tell this story. The one guy, I don't know anyone's name because I forget everything. The one guy said he wrote a script. He's like, look, I own the rights to this script. I can use the name James Bond in a script similar to this if I just change things around. There's some cool parts to it too. It came out. Did it come out around the same time as Octopussy? I believe.
Yeah,
around the same time. I mean,
and to me, Roger Moore was like so solid that this coming out, I wasn't there at the time, but going back and rewatching them all in order, and then I inserted Never Say Never Again, because it doesn't come in that set. I have it separately on a Blu-ray disc or whatever. It just feels weird, right? So I don't know. It's not really a garbage movie. I wouldn't say, but when we're ranking these Sean Connerys, it's got to be the weakest. If we ranked all of the James Bond movies, it'll probably be the weakest anyways, even amongst all of them. I know some of you, aren't fans of certain ones, by a couple of, like you don't like this one or that one, but still, I think we'd have to say this one's pretty much the weakest for Sean Connery. Steve, what's your weakest one?
Oh, it's Never Say Never. It's you're right. It's not a bad, but it's an incredibly pointless film. It was done perfectly the first time. So it really just screams cash grab. And
oh yeah, big time.
And like it's just Kim Basinger's in it, and I usually like Kim Basinger, but she just looks lost in the film. Like she doesn't know why she's there. Like she feels like an appendage, and it shows. And like I like Klaus Maria Brandauer. I thought the one scene where he sat down and he had to like the console and that, and he was like, I forget, it was a game or something, but he was doing the game with Connery, with Bond. Oh, that was fine. That's the part I remember the most from the movie. The domination video game. Yeah, that was the best part for sure. That's the part I remember the most. But like, it just feels incredibly unnecessary. It doesn't really improve on the Thunderball story. It doesn't improve on the Thunderball movie at all. It's just a pale comparison. And at least the other Bonds, whether you like them or not, that Connery did, at least none of them were a remake. So
yeah, you remake your own thing. Sean, is Never Say Never your weakest?
Of course.
Okay, so since it's obvious, Graham Malkin's asking about Thunderball. Why don't you explain it? Because you probably have a better grasp of what happened than what I have.
What you mean, Thunderball and Never Say
and
Never?
Never Say Never. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened was they both co-wrote Thunderball to make the movie. It was written specifically to make the movie. But the problem is, if you co-write something, you both have the rights to it, and the one wrestled the rights away from Ian. I can't remember his name either. Ian Fleming and Fox. I think it was Fox. Made Never Say Never Again. They want to make a Bond movie, and so they basically they had the rights to Thunderball, so they're like, we'll just make this, and they can use the names and stuff. And it's basically a James Bond movie, but what you can do with Thunderball is you can change up locales, maybe tweak the overarching story, like the overarching drive of the thing, and make your own thing, right? For a long time in 2000, they had wanted to make their own Bond franchise with just formulaic Bond movies based on Thunderball, and they were seriously actually going to do that. But anyways. The problem with that too is it locked Spectre and Blofeld and all of the key villains in rights disputes for years. So they were absent from Bond for decades, and then finally the Broccoli's got back the rights and effed it up for for Spectre. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, I know. We're not going to go into how disappointing that was.
Let's do the Austin Powers origin. Like, why would you do that? Like, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're all agreed on that. Okay. So my next worst. We're pretty much getting into the fact here that I kind of like all of the Sean Connery James Bond movies. So we're gonna be, I'm gonna say like the next two weakest ones are almost interchangeable. But I'm gonna go with Diamonds Are Forever, and 10 years. And I know because I know someone on the panel really likes this movie, and they're next to me. But anyways, so it's not a big spoiler. Someone likes this movie, but unfortunately, there's a lot of cheese in it, and I don't know. Maybe 10 years ago, I would have had a different opinion on this list. And Steven and I are going to butt heads on the two, and I know the two movies we're going to butt heads on. It's probably going to be the one he says next. But the problem is that I've now gotten more heavy into the lore of James Bond and reading the books and all that, and then I've become a little bit of a snob. And that's just what happens because now I'm like, well, this is cheesy and it's kind of silly, and those two guys are kind of goofy, I suppose. I don't know. There's just too much goofiness going on. I like Jill St. John or whatever. I think she's like really good looking and everything, but I don't know. She's kind of irritating as well. She's not really a strong character to me. I'm just like, So Diamonds Are Forever. The poster is fantastic. That's McGuinness, so obviously that's great. I don't know. I just couldn't. I still like it as a for fun throw it on, and it's just on. as a fun movie, and the base is wicked, right? Like that's cool that there's like a claw thing or whatever.
Mhm.
That's really cool. That's a cool area, but it's just strayed too far off of, kind of what I would want out of a Bond picture after digging more deeper into the history of the character and all that. For me, okay, Steve, what's your next weakest?
You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
Just, it really struggles for me. Like the pacing is pretty bad. Like they do know what they call it. Yeah. It's pretty bad. Donald Pleasance has a lot of promise. He's the guy that Dr. Evil was. That performance as Blofeld was who Dr. Evil was modeled after, but he doesn't do anything. Like if you actually watch the movie, he just sits in a room and pets a cat mostly, and like that's all he does. It just felt very. It just didn't feel like Bond to me, like that impressive. The sets are still good. It's still got a lot of action, so it's not a garbage film. But when I think about the other films, this one is definitely the next weakest one to me. If not for the Never Say Never one, this would be the weakest of the Connerys for sure.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I'm guessing what your interchangeable ones are, but like to me, You Only Live Twice and Diamonds Are Forever are sort of like the Rocky 3 and 4. It's like I like them for the goofiness that they are, but they're not the lofty heights of 1 and 2, and so it's for my second least is You Only Live Twice. And I mean, Steve beat the thing to death, but I like elements of it, but it feels off. It feels a bit too goofy, and at that point, it was like later in the Connery run, so they're sort of like grasping at straws. But they have the book, and I like Tiger Tanaka; he's awesome. But yeah, I think of this and Diamonds, this is probably the least. That said, I do love them. I watch them every so often. But if you're talking best and least, then yeah, You Only Live Twice is a notch above like Never Say Never Again.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like
a few notches above, but still second least, right?
Yeah, I like them all. Like I like all of them. Even Never Say Never I can throw. Although I've only really watched Never Say Never one time. So I mean, any of them I can watch. And yeah, my next least one is You Only Live Twice. I feel that Blofeld has been done a disservice. The best Blofeld for me was Telly Savalas.
Yeah.
After that, it's just been sort of a disastrous mess, really, or before or after, whatever. It's like, well, we never saw him before that. I think he was the first one we saw. Donald Pleasance. Oh God, I love Donald Pleasance, man. You are the Duke.
Yeah,
you're number one. You're the Duke, right? From Escape from New York. Like I love him. He's great. But oh God, he was. That the thing what makes it better than Diamonds, and you guys, this is a personal thing because I love Japan. So the fact that he's in Japan, the location is cool to me. I like the girls and everything. That's some cool stuff there. They do try to do this thing where they disguise him as a Japanese person, which is a little bit weird. It didn't really work then. I don't think it worked, but I didn't see it back then.
It's
but I don't
also
think
too long, man. It's like 20 minutes of that.
Yeah.
It's too long. Like it's too long, and it's just I don't know. It's just weird. The attack on the base at the end.
Yeah.
Though
that's
with those guys coming down, like Diamonds doesn't have an epic thing like that. I don't think so. That's why this one is the Japanese angle of just the locations. The Japanese agent guy. I forgot his name. Now you just said it. He's awesome. Men come first.
Yeah, in Japan, men come first. And he's got that train with all the gadgets and stuff.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool. Right. So I know I'm good. I know they're not interchangeable anymore. Sean, you've convinced me. You Only Live Twice is cooler than Diamonds Are Forever. It's neat. Yeah, but and then after these, the rest of them are all going to be pretty awesome. We're just going to pick our faves. Okay, so Steve, what's your next one? What are we on here? Your third worst?
Yeah, my third worst. Like it was probably like 2, 3, 4, fifth.
Fifth, yeah.
This is going to be the controversial one. It's From Russia with Love for me.
Yeah.
It's too long. It's very, very slow. There are parts of it I do enjoy. I like him with the detective. I like them going around in the underground catacomb areas. I like that a lot. But there was one point where I was sitting there. I remember they introduced Robert Shaw's character. And then I'm like, what happened to Robert Shaw? He's gone for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, why is it taking so long to get to the main villain? I knew he was the main villain. The fight on the train is terrific, right? That is undeniable. But overall, there's a lot to me of just slow parts in Russia that I find the other films above it a little bit more exciting, and it meanders a bit. So again, not a terrible movie, but I'm not going to pop in From Russia with Love if I want an entertaining Bond. For me, it's more of a long drawn out Bond.
Yeah. All right, Sean, you're next. What's the next worst one?
Oh, Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah.
And I love it, but it's this and You Only Live Twice, or like Rocky 3 and 4. They're, it's like you can't compare them to the others, but they're still awesome. Crispin Glover's dad is wicked.
Who's Glover, man?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I like all the villain stuff. They're goofy, but they're cool, man. But yeah, and that whole business in the beginning, with the that's the one where he kills the fake Blofeld, right?
Yeah, that was kind of funny, but also kind of weird.
It's not the best example of the Bonds, but it's fun, and it's got to be like, it's got to be number 5 of 7.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's look at some of the comments before we start getting into the top. What do we do? The top 4. You're going with Skyfall. Sean Connery as Bond is Tobias the Spider-Man. Do you like Tobey Maguire? I didn't know you liked Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, it's a new one.
You fell asleep both times. You fell asleep in Skyfall? Thunderball is like what this. Yeah, okay, so we kind of went through these. The first 4 are the strongest. Well, that's sort of where we're at, pretty much. Terry Hatcher. And you're like, no love for Terry Hatcher?
No,
we're only doing the Sean Connery.
Day, man.
Yeah, we're only doing the Sean Connery ones. Unsung hero of the Connery films, Robert Wrighty. Oh, he's the voice actor for Largo. Oh, I love Largo. He's great. And Tiger. Oh, I didn't know that. Do you know this voice actor, Sean?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Yeah, because we didn't know about that. That's really cool. Okay, so we're in the top 4 now. My number 4 might be controversial that it's number 4, but it is number 4. I had to search deep. I dug deep into my heart, and I present to you Goldfinger. I know everyone loves Goldfinger, and 10 years ago I loved it too. But I don't love it as much as these other ones. Goldfinger himself is just a pudgy guy. Like, I just feel like you just punch him in his face. And like, I know he's a douche, and I really like his plan. I think he's got a great plan. So I really like that stuff. But it just fell out of the. It's almost like the second last. Okay, forget about Never Say Never, right? But then the last 2, You Only Live Twice and Diamonds are kind of interchangeable. And now I think like Goldfinger and the other one I'm going to say are almost interchangeable as well. But I don't know. I like something happened with Goldfinger when I read the book, and I thought this book is really cool. And I thought the movie kind of changed things around a little bit, which is okay. And then I started thinking about the movie. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, Goldfinger looks cool, and I like his plan, but he just doesn't seem. I know he's like, I expect you to die, or whatever. I know there's all those great scenes, and Goldfinger was the one where it hit this like zenith, and then it was like, okay, Goldfinger, yeah, and then it's like, and then it's just going up from there. Like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Dr. No was finding the monolith, and then Goldfinger was finding it on the moon. That was the big next mega jump where you're like, oh shit, yeah, now we're getting somewhere, right? So I like Goldfinger a lot. I think it's great, but it is the fourth weakest for me. But I would definitely watch it anytime. It's probably ranked in the top 10 to 15 of any James Bond movie, I would say. Probably in the top 15 of any James Bond movie there is. So, I mean, that still means it's good. So now it just slowly didn't make it to the top 3. So yeah, that's mine. Steve, what about you? Fourth favorite?
Dr. No.
Dr. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine film. Joseph Wiseman is terrific as Dr. No. It's got the famous scene with Ursula Andress, I think that was her name,
She's
coming
awesome.
out of the surf, and she's got the knife to the leg. I mean, this really introduced the world of Bond. It's a very classic film. I love his underwater base, like Dr. No's base. And it's just such a very like fun movie, right? It's not overly long, and it gets to the point, and it's high stakes. Like, this is why I love Bond at his best, is the high stakes. Like, the world is in danger. I love that stuff, right? So, the other 3 films I just like a little bit more, but Dr. No's a great film. And definitely worthy of its status as a classic. Just for me, for whatever reason, I just like the other 3 better. So,
okay, Sean.
Yeah, it's Dr. No for me as well. Yeah, no, it's not a bad movie at all, right? It's a solid first picture, and and there's a lot of great stakes and stuff, and the musical score is amazing too.
Yeah.
It's really, it makes it feel really epic. Yeah, the other movies, I just feel like, one's more action, one's more epic to me, and etc. One's more better story to me. It's just we're getting into like, sure, it's number 4, but it's not shit at all, man. It's
Right.
it's great. It's like, yeah, and the villain is awesome too. And of course there's iconic lines from it as well. So yeah, it's a solid 4 for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. So yeah, these are all now getting a little bit interchangeable. So for me, the third best is Dr. No. The thing with Dr. No, so I kind of lied a little bit, because I never went back and rewatched all the Bonds in order. I think I had said that earlier, and I didn't really mean to say it that way. I meant like I kind of just watched a few that because I had seen Goldfinger on VHS later on, right? Like, because I had the VHS of it, but then I was like, I kind of forgot about it. But I remember I saw it, so I skipped a few, right? Like, I started to try to just watch ones where I could from that Blu-ray pack. And Dr. No is actually one of the last ones I think it was the last one I had watched, which is weird because it's the first movie. But I don't know what happened. I really liked it a lot. I just thought, this is so good. And then, you know what? And it still wouldn't have been higher than Goldfinger. It still would have been below Goldfinger. It may have even been below some of the other ones, but I read the book, and then I just thought this book was just the damn best. And then I watched the movie again, and I started to see the book in the movie. Like, when Ursula Andrews, what's her name? Honey? Is it Honey something? I don't remember her name. I'm bad.
Yeah, Honey. It's Honey. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. So she's nude in the book.
Yeah.
Or at least topless.
Yeah.
But she's a great character. And the way that because she gets captured by Dr. No, and he puts her in a death trap. And she escapes the death trap on her own. And the way she escapes on her own is really the damn best. Honey Rider, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. You're going to keep me honest in this stream, buddy. Thanks. Honey Rider. The way she escapes in the book is the best. I want to just say that, well, I'll get to that when I get to my favorites. But yeah, I really like Dr. No. I think he's a crazy, awesome villain. His base is the damn best. It's right in the period. It's not exactly the exact time period of James Bond, but it's close enough to almost being within the same period of James Bond. And Sean and I came up with ideas for this before, which we'll talk about afterwards once we rank these, because we're still going to have some time left over. We'll talk about some other side things that I want to talk about as well regarding James Bond. But yeah, like, it's just in that period, and I don't know, there's just something magical about it, and I just think it was great. And I think this may have been the best Felix since probably Casino Royale, like the new Casino Royale with that guy's a great actor. What's his name?
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. He's the best Felix since him.
Good,
I think.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better Felix. Actually, this guy seemed like he was freaking on top of shit, man. I'll tell you that much. He's like kicking ass in this movie. I like this guy. And then after that, they kept changing Felix. I was like, why? And I know the reason was they wanted it to be a surprise, so that you're like, oh, it's Felix. Oh, we didn't know. Yeah, but I mean, is that surprise really worth losing a great actor for it? I don't know if I would say it's worth it. But yeah, Dr. Knows is in the top 3, man. Steve, top 3. Here we go.
Oh, it's Diamonds Are Forever for me for third.
Yeah, I see. This is where the stream gets interesting. No,
I don't know. Like, it starts off fantastic with Connery just beating the hell out of someone because it's actually a continuation from On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
That's a crazy way to start. I love him in Vegas. I love him with Jill St. John. I know she doesn't really do much, but I find she challenges him. Like, this was a Bond to me that sort of almost challenged his masculinity a bit and sort of said he's not the superhero that he's been portrayed to be. Jack Ward. Oh, okay. Like Bambi and the whole scene of Bambi and Thumper where they just kicked the living hell out of him. I thought that was a great scene, because when have you ever seen Bond take on you can see his anxiety and his confusion, like, oh, it's a woman. Like, what do I do? And they just beat the living hell. I love to Bambi and Thumper, man. I can't help it. I love the scenes in Amsterdam. I love Bruce Glover and his partner. They're complete pieces of garbage. I cheered when they got killed. The ending is a little bit abrupt and weird. It's like he goes I forget. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. But he goes into isn't it Blofeld, right? In Diamonds, it's not Blofeld, is it? It's someone else.
The villain in Diamonds.
Yeah.
Well, I thought. Go ahead, Sean.
No, it's is it not a remade up Blofeld?
Is it Blofeld?
Like a plastic surgery Blofeld or something, but they never say his name. Right,
it might have been. Anyhow, he goes into that. That sort of cylinder thing, and then he just gets crushed to death, and I'm kind of like, and that was kind of weird. So I will say that like the ending of the villain was totally unsatisfactory. But it's a very fun Bond. You get to see him in very cool locales. I love the repartee between him and Jill St. John. It's a very fun film, and it's one that it's that guilty pleasure sort of thing where I just enjoy watching it. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Sean, top 3.
3 is Thunderball for me.
Yeah.
So Thunderball is one of the great action pictures, and it's like a very early action picture, and almost a lot of action movies nowadays and a lot of Bond comes from this movie. It's like the 4th one, and they're still like inventing the wheel. It's wicked. The opening sequence is one of the best opening sequences for Bond of all time. There's a reason why. I mean, one of the reasons why everyone wanted to remake with this was because they had their grubby hands on it. But like you can like pigeonhole like different action sequences and stuff because of the way it's structured. I think it's cool. To me, it's number 3 of the other 2.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're on number 2. My number 2, and this one has taken a turn, big time, From Russia with Love. And so Russia and Diamonds are the ones that Steve and I like clash because we've got them in opposite locations. The thing is that once you read From Russia with Love, which was ranked one of the greatest novels ever written by me, the books are awesome. If you haven't read the James Bond books, read them. That's period, end of sentence, read them. Or listen to them on audio. They've got them all on audiobooks. And I think Jason Isaacs does some of
yeah.
the audio. Oh, he's great, right?
Yeah.
From Russia with Love is a damn crazy good book. It's the longest one. When I first saw From Russia with Love, I thought it was very slow, kind of boring. I would have definitely put it probably just above Never Say Never. I would have said it was my worst one because I thought it was boring and I just didn't care or whatever. And then I read the book and then I watched it again and I was like, wow, it is very close to the book except for the fact that it does not make the villains as evil as they actually are.
Yeah.
The villains are way worse.
Mhm.
That part in the beginning with Red Grant, who is one of the best villains like in literature. He's a friggin' monstrous, disturbed man. When that woman comes to massage him with the oils and all that, they literally describe her. She's nude and she's big busted, and he's laying there basically naked, and she's like massaging him, and he feels nothing. And the point is that he doesn't get aroused or energized or enthusiastic about anything except killing someone. Like, and you're like this, and it's like literally like he's an unstoppable killer. He doesn't give a crap, and I think it's very important. And they kind of downplayed it. I obviously understand why they don't want this to be too weird, but even the chess player guy, who I forgot his name, his whole thing, he's like this mastermind genius, and that's also said in the movie, but it's not shown. So the movie is a companion piece to the book. When you put those two together, it's probably the best James Bond experience there is, in my opinion. It's not my favorite because we know what my favorite is now based on where I'm at, but it's just so good. And watching it again, I'm into the whole thing. The train stuff is good. I really like the girl a lot. She is awesome. That stuff with her when she's being recruited, and is it Greta? She's like rubbing her leg, and like it's so weird. Like it's very uncomfortable when you read it in the book. You're like, ooh, and I don't know. It's a great movie. Sean Connery is awesome in it. I think it's great. Red Grant is just like the damn. I know he doesn't. The thing is, he doesn't do much, but when you have all this knowledge, you can't help but project that onto the screen. Like I know and because he didn't change it. Like a lot of times when they change a book, or they change a movie from a book, the people who read the book are alienated. Now this one didn't change anything; they just removed things. So when they removed things, I fill in the gaps. Mm-hmm. So it's almost the perfect way to do a movie adaptation where, On Her Majesty's Secret Service as well changed a couple of things, but it's pretty close. But this one is so close that if you read the book, you're like, yeah, that's a pretty good adaptation, removing some of the really more darker parts of it. So when you have that knowledge, you fill in the gaps and you're just like, this is the damn best. So it's the longest book and it's really a great book. So whew, talked up From Russia with Love. All right, Steve, what's your second favorite?
Thunderball.
Yep.
It's a terrific film. Sean, you already alluded to the opening, which is great. The jetpack, all that is awesome. Yeah. By far, and to this day, I don't think it's ever been topped, the greatest underwater battle ever captured on camera. Yeah. Like, bar none. It's not only a film, it's a cinematic feat when you get to that point. Like, it's an exciting thing, like throwing people into the pool with the sharks, which is where they got that from. And again, Austin Powers, except they have lasers on their heads, I think.
Freaking laser beams.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like, it's such a terrific thrill ride. Like, if I'd been able to see that in a theater, that would have been like one of the most awesome theatrical experiences of my life. If not for my number one film, Thunderball would have easily been number one for me.
Sean, number two.
Look up, look down, look out. Anyway, we're in two, right? My number two is Goldfinger. I feel like maybe Goldfinger is overplayed because it gets ranked as an overrated type of thing because everyone's like, Goldfinger, oh my god! But Goldfinger's awesome, man. I like the whole setup in the beginning where they're by the poolside and they're like going through all the villains and stuff like that. Goldfinger himself is cool. Yeah, he's a big puffball fatso, but like that's neat. I like Oddjob a lot. Their plan is weird, but like it gets into what some may call like comic book sort of like James Bond, right? But it was it was like I think it doubled the gross of From Russia with Love. For a reason. I mean, I think at that point everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is epic and stellar," and it's like, it's like this big adventure. Like, Bond has the world in his hands. What's he gonna do? Like, he has to save it and stuff. It's so cool. So, and I fell out of love with it because of the people praise it too much. Maybe it's not that good. But I watched it again recently, and it's cool, man. It's my number 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. My number one's Thunderball, but I think I'll explain why in a second. But I think like Goldfinger, Thunderball, and someone said the first 4, right? Goldfinger, Thunderball. There's a certain time period in our lives, and Goldfinger and Thunderball are kind of part of that, where there's like there's a Thunderball board game,
Yeah,
and you're just like, if there's not a board game.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it's a movie to me. Like it's like,
Yeah.
like this sounds weird, but you got like Sean, you get this. I know
Back
you get
in the day, like
like
geez.
there's got like Thunderball had the board game, and you're like, oh yeah, like that's it. Now know you made it, right?
You made it, yeah.
And there's actually a sick board game which I've been trying to recreate digitally. I found all of the old maps.
Yeah.
It's a very huge piece. I've literally digitally on Photoshop, I've been recreating this board game because I love Thunderball is one of my favorite films of all time. I like the story. I like the characters. Like Largo is awesome. I really, really love the underwater thing. When I first saw that, I was literally in shock, and I thought, wow, nobody. And I saw this movie, let's say 6 or 7 years ago, or I don't know, whenever I saw it. Right? I'm like, wow, nobody's even come close to this. And all this time,
Yeah.
How ashamed is Hollywood? Like they should be ashamed of themselves that this Thunderball movie, like whatever, I don't know what the date is on it, right? Whatever the date is, it's like this movie did this great sequence, and you guys can't replicate this now. That's brutal. Thunderball, the song is great. Tom Jones, man, the soundtrack is killer good. I got the soundtrack. Best poster. The look up, look down is great. Look up, look down, look out. But each one of those, look up is the jetpack. Look down is now it's him on in the underwater battle where he's fighting the frogmen, and then the look out is where he's on the beach with the spear, right? Domino is like second best Bond girl for me. She is the most attractive Bond girl for me. Easy. That's no question there. She's just the damn best. I like her name. It's not like a stupid sexual. It's not like a weird sexual name like Pussy Galore or something like that. It's like I love the way they meet. They meet underwater. I think that's so cool. The ending's a little bit weird because sort of like Domino like kind of assists or whatever, and then that one guy pops in at the end who was like not even in the movie, and he comes in and he like kind of a little bit saves the day a bit. I'm like, what's going on here? But I don't care. Thunderball's great. The book is freaking fantastic. 1965. Thank you so much, Claudine Auger. Yeah, like Auger.
Oh yeah.
Claudine Auger. Yeah, she's just the damn best. 1965. Yep. I mean, how ashamed is Hollywood? Like they should be ashamed of themselves. They're watch that movie like, wow. We suck. We can't with all the, but the line from Superman 1. Even with all my powers, I couldn't save them. So even with all this budget, I can't recreate this.
Yeah,
it's just shameful. So Thunderball is the best. I love the action movie. I'd love to get the poster, especially the underwater stuff. I love underwater stuff. I'm a sucker for it, and this has the best underwater stuff. It's great. But yeah, so I wanted to say like this is the time where it's like. There's just cool stuff, like you want to go out and buy stuff. You're like, yeah, I want to get the James Bond doll in the Frogman costume. And, they don't do cool things anymore. Now it's all just like, it's literally just to sell it. They don't give a crap if the quality is any good. The toy could fall apart in your stupid hands like everything NECA produces. It's like all this bullshit. So, yeah, I'm going to throw them under the bus. F it. I don't care. It's like, all this bullshit stuff that comes out. There's nothing cool anymore. Well, there's some cool stuff. But like, I don't know. You need a board game. As soon as there's no board game, you know your movie's not doing well. That's the way that we used to like think about these things. So Thunderball is my favorite. Steve, what is your favorite?
It's Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with, I don't know if it's the popular opinion or whatnot, but like when I first saw Goldfinger, I was constantly in awe of everything. Painting the girl gold. Yeah, I was like, cool. That is an insane way to kill someone. Like that is absolutely, I thought that was genius. I love the poster. I love the theme song. I love Honor Blackman. I know she's got a stupid name, but like I love tough Bond girls who can hold their own. And she's like one of my, if not my favorite Bond girl. I just loved her in that movie. Odd Job is terrific, throwing the hat, decapitating the statue, all that is good. I love Gert Frobe as Goldfinger. I love the fact, behind the scenes he doesn't speak a word of English. I thought for some reason, and yet like he's like, I think he was probably the first dubbed Bond villain, right? Like I don't know if anyone else has been dubbed, but like he's a portly little guy, but again, the classic line, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die." I love that. I love all of that. Fort Knox, the final scenes are great. The plan is great. I have the Aston Martin from Goldfinger there as a Hot Wheel. Goldfinger for me is the best of Connery as Bond.
All right, Sean, we know what it is. What is it?
It's From Russia with Love. It's that movie. It's funny because I saw it a lot on TV and with commercials it's like mega long, but so it seemed like an event. When you're a kid and it goes till like 11. If a movie started at 8, it usually ended at 10. If it went to 11, you knew it was a mega like. Or just like, wow, this is a mega event night, man! Holy crap! That was. And the then you'd be struggling. It's like you'd be struggling to stay up. Start at 7. It couldn't start at 8. I had to start at 7 so it could end at 11, right? So anyway, but yeah, that's how you knew something was epic. So I grew up admiring the movie a lot, and there might have been a time when I thought, oh, this is boring, but like I pretty much always loved it for being the sort of heightened, refined Bond. It's like, I mean, it's got its action, it's got its switchblade shoe and everything, but like it's still it's got its fun to it, but it still has a great story to it. And I love his sidekick guy in it, Karim. Yeah,
he's
wicked.
Best.
He's like, use my
wicked,
shoulder. It's
man.
Like, yeah, no, that's
he's
awesome.
He's the damn best, man.
Yeah, that guy's the best. And that one was like, oh, come have sex. He's like, oh, okay, fine. And this thing blows. And he's like, oh, like I would have been dead if it weren't for that woman over there. I think it's great. It's weird they never went back to that kind of storytelling. They had to do what they had to do to become a mega franchise, right? More action, stuff like that. But From Russia with Love is easily my number one. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. All of these like top 3, 4 are all really, really good.
Yeah.
Years ago, I would have said Goldfinger as well. Just because it's a cool movie and it's fun. But Thunderball blew me away, which is all the coolness of it.
Yeah.
From Russia with Love might be better.
Yes.
If we're going to say what is better.
Yeah.
But Thunderball's just like, this is like kick ass. Like I'm like, this is like the good stuff of Goldfinger and the good stuff from Russia with Love, and then you just mash them together, and then let's throw in some underwater battles just for the shit of doing it. and I'm like, that it's just like it's got everything going for it. That's why I love that.
Mm.
Really? Wow,
that's crazy. That makes sense though, because I don't think Ursula Andress, I think she didn't speak English either, or she had a heavy accent.
Wow. Yeah, so we know that they're casting for look, I guess, right?
Yeah. Thanks for letting us know though. That was crazy. That's crazy that she did both.
Yeah, I mean, so okay, we've covered the Sean Connery Bonds. Let's talk a little bit, because we're never going to do a George Lazenby thing, right? That's just not going to happen. What are your thoughts on Honor Majesty's Secret Service? Hold on. Thoughts on the movie just in general. Because it's in this weird placement of sort of being in between.
Yeah.
And it's so part of the Bond story that the next movie literally continues from
it. Yeah.
It's this weird thing where it's sort of like Phantasm 2, if there's any horror movie buffs. Like part two's got the other guy playing what's his name? Mike, and then they brought back a Michael Baldwin.
Yeah.
Again, right? And you're like, well, okay, so 1, 3, 4, 5 have this Michael, and the second one's got James. I can't remember the guy's name now. He's James. What? Sorry,
LeGros. L-E-G.
Yes, you're right. That's it, James LeGros. Yeah, where he's just in it, right? So this is weird because On Her Majesty's Secret Service needs to be watched as part of the Sean Connery Bonds. Like you do have to watch that movie. So thoughts on that? Just thoughts on the placement of it, and if you counted it amongst these movies, where would you rank that one?
Okay.
So I'll start with Steve first. So Steve, just your thoughts on the movie in general, your thoughts about how like it's part of the series, and where would you kind of rank it if you had to? I know this is like spur of the moment, but it's interesting to see what you come up with.
I mean, when I watched that movie, I was literally left speechless, which I did not expect. My dad never spoke. Now, my dad heavily influenced me on movies when I was a kid. I think, because he had the collection. That was what I had access to. If I went to the show, it's because he took me, right? And I remember On Her Majesty's Secret Service as a kid. I remember he said it was like 2.5 hours long. I'm like, oh, that's kind of long for a movie. When you watch it, it is brilliant. It is a completely genius movie. George Lazenby was fantastic as James Bond, in my opinion. Telly Savalas is the best Blofeld. The scenes in the snow, the tobogganing and everything, the slaloming, amazing. Like, just like really beautifully shot film. And James Bond is an actual person in this film. I know that Daniel Craig was supposed to bring in the realistic James Bond, but this was sort of the realistic James Bond. That he gets married. James Bond doesn't get married. He has sex with beautiful women every movie, but this was the first one where he's a person and he cries at the end. Like James Bond cries, and he says, "We had all the time in the world," and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Like, you're so emotionally invested in this story, more so than any Bond movie I can think of. It is legitimately one of the best Bond movies, bar none. And if I have to rank it, it would be ranked number 1 above Goldfinger for me. It is just like such a fantastic film. It broke my heart a bit. Like, I walked out of there and I finished watching it and I'm like, why did they get rid of George Lazenby? Like, he needed to make more. I know Sean Connery is the best Bond. I think if he's not, if he's either your favorite or he's considered the best. For me, he's not my favorite. He's the best. But Lazenby was frigging fantastic, and I was just like, dude, this guy was great as Bond. Why didn't he get more of a chance? Because I would have liked to have seen where they went from there. I would have liked to have seen him in Diamonds, getting revenge. But yeah, it's just one of the it's a top Bond for me. It's that easily top 5 Bond. So.
Yeah, I think George Lazenby didn't want. I think he had said, I don't know at what point, but at some point, either during production or just after, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing anymore," and they're like, "Okay, what the hell?"
Yeah,
and he was being a bit weird because I've researched a lot of this movie, and he showed up to the premiere and he's got his like kind of surfer dude hair and all that. And they're like, "Dude, like, you got to show up in the tux as Bond." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care. He was just like a who gives a crap kind of a guy or whatever.
And he's been given bad advice too.
Yeah,
he was given bad advice as well. Yep, that's part of it. That's why they called in Diana Rigg. To come in, and they're like, "Well, let's get her. She's like a legit good actress." Yeah. I love Avengers. I have an Avenger. I have Diana Rigg tattooed on me, so I love her obviously. But yeah. So, anyways, okay. So, Sean, what about you? Your thoughts on the movie? Your placement?
Yeah, it's like it was sad not to see Lazenby like reprise the role just for that one where he gets revenge, right? And then in some ways you're like, well, I mean, what if Sean Connery were in On Her Majesty's Secret Service? Like, would that be cool?
Mhm.
For whatever reason, and maybe it's because of my bias watching the movie, like Lazenby looks sort of like younger, and I don't know if he was or not, but it just seems like a young man Bond's movie. I don't know. Maybe it's the way they wrote it or something. Just the stuff they have him doing in that film, but yeah, it's he should have come back. Like I think it's because he said his agents told him that this is a death threat. Like it was the sixth one, and he's like, "Oh, this is a death threat. It is dying or whatever." Just write it out, man. You have a job, like you know. And I guess back then they didn't sign people to multi-picture deals like they do now. It's like you're playing Captain America in like 8 movies. Like I okay, you know, that kind of thing. Honestly, it would have been number 1 if it were, because the thing is, it's stylish, it's compelling. I didn't realize it was 2.5 hours or something. I didn't know that, but because I don't realize it when I'm watching it. It looks beautiful. The skies in it, like whenever I think back, I think of the dark twilight skies when he's like escaping and everything. I love when he's sitting there mopey, he doesn't know what to do partway through, and then that woman comes in and is like, James Bond, and then they team up. You know, that's great, man. All that stuff. It's I don't know. It's so stylish. I always think of that. I always think of his portrayal as Bond. He's very cool, but he's also undercover. All that stuff. Telly Savalas is great. So yeah, I wish that he stayed on as Bond. And look, I love Sean Connery, but like I wish he stayed on as Bond. It's weird that they didn't actually do the Blofeld trilogy for real in the movies. They released the namesake of the other 2 books before On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because it's supposed to be what, Thunderball, Secret Service, and You Only Live Twice, right? Is the Blofeld trilogy in the books. Why they didn't do that in the movies, I don't really know. But you know, it's one of
they messed it up too, because they messed it up because wouldn't Blofeld recognize Bond in On Her Majesty's?
He was in other movies before. Right. Yeah, I don't know if they're going for like just a new Bond, new continuity. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he says this never happened to the other. So it's like, this never happened to the other fellow.
Yeah.
The other guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Where would you rank it then if you had to rank it within these movies?
What?
Majesty. Oh, number 1.
Yeah.
Number
one. Number 1 above
Russia.
From Russia with Love, because I feel like even though it's longer, I don't realize it's I feel it's tighter. I feel it's more compelling, probably because it's newer. But yeah, and I feel they're making a lot of style choices too that were really slick and fun. So
I thought I was going to mention that
like
the editing,
the cinematography is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and they did a little bit of the quick editing, so it's like the
quick editing when it punches, it's like, you know, rapid punch.
Yeah,
that'd be a great figure, rapid punch Bond or whatever. It looks on Blu-ray. It kind of looks modern. In some shots, I'm like, guys, like, did they shoot this 2 years ago? It's like on Blu-ray, it looks fantastic. So I don't know, and Blu-ray is the best it's ever looked. I don't think it ever looked that good when it was in theaters. So, yeah, it's such a crying shame. It's a great little gem, and it's funny because for years it was the worst Bond.
Yeah,
and because people are just sore at Lazenby. It's like, well, you're not Sean Connery, you suck, right? And I think over the years now it's become one of the great Bond movies. People are like, yeah, no, it's one of the best ones, you know. So yeah.
So I saw it. So I think Dr. No was like my second last, something like that, or last. But this one was also the last or second. I don't remember exactly. I think maybe this was the last one. I'm not. It's hard to remember. Right? This is years, like, 10 years ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I remember saying everyone hates it. I watched it. I was like thinking, oh, this is like really damn good. And I'm like, I think this is like my favorite James Bond movie, and I think this might be one of my favorite action movies like ever. Like I'm like thinking, Like I started to think of like Raiders and Die Hard, and I'm like, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is coming in here. I'm like, what the hell happened? And when she dies at the end, I was like, are you effing kidding me? This is crazy. And it was like so shitty. They just got married and they're in the car and they just drive by and shoot her. I was like, she's just like, now I knew his wife, I knew he got married and I knew she died.
Yeah.
Because just through pop culture, like you just know these things. So it wasn't a spoiler. So I'm watching this, I'm thinking, yeah, he's going to marry her and she's going to get killed. And I'm thinking, well, shit, when's he going to marry this woman? And then he's like, oh, we should get married. I'm like, well, there's still like an action scene. You know what I mean? Like you start to think in your head, like, when is this going to happen? And then he's getting married. I'm thinking, okay. And then she gets shot and it's like, oh, we have all the time in the world. And I'm like, that's the end. I'm like, oh. Then bing, bing, bing. Now I know why everyone doesn't like this movie. I'm like, now it makes sense. Because every other Bond movie ever ends with like a super kick-ass, yeah, we won, we crushed the villain. The villain won and killed his wife in like the most like whatever ways. Like they just drive by and shoot her. I thought it's not even like a cool death or anything. It's just tragic. And you're like, oh. I'm like, people who went to go see this are looking, they just watched Thunderball.
Yeah.
Look, Thunderball, right? One of the greatest movies ever. Underwater sequence, big action scene, Sean Connery on fire, super smoking hot domino, right? Yeah. And now you got Diana Rigg, just like Honor Blackman, left Avengers, went into Bond. She's leaving Avengers, going into Bond. Yeah, everyone loves Diana Rigg. She's great. And you're like, yeah, she's gonna be kick-ass, and she's got a car, and she's driving, right? I've got a thing of her car. I've got his car, the green one, from that. She's driving and fighting guys. You're like, shit, yeah. This chick's on fire. This is the greatest movie ever. And then it's like she just gets shot like a loser on the side of the road, and you're like, oh my god, this is brutal. So that's I can tell. And then Lazenby's like, yeah, I'm not coming back. So they're like, this movie's kind of this is a bit of a disaster. Now you fast forward to now where you're like, wow, this is a crazy good. Firstly, the movie is amazing. All the cinematography, the story, the shots, the editing. I love the editing. It's very energetic. The entire part on the beach in the beginning where he's in silhouette, that's cool. And they reveal him. Remember when they used to reveal?
Yeah.
Sean knows.
Yeah.
Steve, you remember Raiders of the Lost Ark? It was like, oh, there he is.
He comes
it's like,
out of shadow.
Right, I was like, dun, dun, dun. You're like, What happened to that? They did it in Wonder Woman. I'll give them that. They did it like Wonder Woman when she finally revealed her costume. You didn't see it. You got to but you got to see her early. But I mean, what happened to revealing the actor? Like, it's like there's like a big reveal. So it has that going for it. The soundtrack is awesome. I got the soundtrack on my phone. I played in the car. It was the first time that the title was not the song.
Yeah.
It was just music.
Yeah.
And I really liked that a lot.
The new Bond theme,
the new Bond theme or whatever. I liked also that it was Bond taking care of business, TCB taking care of business on his own.
Yeah,
he didn't have a lot of stuff. I love the jetpack. Look, I love Thunderball. I would say On Her Majesty's Secret Service is the best James Bond movie. There's still Thunderball as like, I really like it as kind of a little bit more of a fun, and he wins in the end and there's a water battle. But Her Majesty's Secret Service is the best one. But anyways, he didn't use a lot of gadgets. It was like he literally he's relying on himself. He's getting, you know what I mean? I like that versus just like, oh, I've got a jetpack handy, okay, sure. Right. So it's like, I think, and there was not really cool gadgets in the car. He just had a car. It was a little bit more, a little bit more, I don't want to say realistic because I hate when people say that, but like it was a slightly grounded-ish kind of Bond. The skiing is great. That stuff in the ending is great. Best, I absolutely loved Blofeld in this. This was the closest that we got. I love when he's like, yeah, I control the economy here, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll destroy the economy. And there's not like a big hamming it up. He's like, I possess the ability to destroy the economy. And you're just like, okay. and I like that. And there is a little bit of weirdness where he's undercover and he's doing he's got the accent or he's dubbed. Like, I don't know if he's dubbed in that scene if he's dubbed when he's doing the Scottish, he's pretending to be the other guy or whatever. And he has like such a wonky name. I forgot the name now. I had all this memorized. I'm bad. As soon as we go, he was dubbed. Yeah, thanks, dude. So yeah, he was dubbed. So he's dubbed for quite a bit, right? That's like a good 25 minutes or something, right?
Right.
But I mean, I like all that stuff. I like the going to the room, like the different girls. It goes to each different room or whatever. That's great. The storyline's good, and I love seeing Bond's crest family, his crest or whatever, and it is actually The World Is Not Enough, which they used as when they ran out of titles. I liked all that. I like everything. I think it's great. I think it's like a 10 out of 10 perfect movie. The ending is crazy. So yeah, I would say it's awesome. Would you say it's the best James Bond movie? Would you say it's the best James Bond movie, period? Or do you have one that's more? Without revealing which one it is. Steve, would it be your favorite?
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but you can't even my favorites, which I won't reveal now, but even my favorites, you can sort of pick, but I can't really pick anything wrong with this movie, in any way, shape, or form. This is one where it's everything is working, all the elements of film that are supposed to work are working. It's impossible for you to criticize that when it's like that, right? Because even with my favorite of all time, I can point out something wrong with it,
right.
which
that's
me a bit, but it is what it is. So yeah, objectively, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is probably the best James Bond movie.
Sean, do you think it's the best one?
Today, yes.
Well, never say what No Time to Die ain't gonna beat it.
There's so many. It's how can other movies not tie and stuff like that? I mean, but it's if you think about it, it's and the way it's aged very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, then it's got to be good because it stood the test of time, and it looks, even its sensibilities look modern. So it might be the best, the best one.
Yeah, I think it is the best. I don't think it's going to be topped. It's definitely not going to be topped
by Daniel Craig.
No,
no, not by Danny C. Sorry, he's not. I don't think Danny C is going to top it. Look, we're going to get into those, and we can butt heads on those because I'm all right. But now, Sean and I had talked about this, and Steve, you can get in on this as well. We had talked about a concept, and I actually don't remember if I said this concept first, or if Sean, if you said it first, or if we just kind of somehow met on this concept, which is the idea that they should do a period James Bond series. And what I would do is I would do mini series, possibly a 3 episode, 4 episode, depending on your thing, sort of or longer, or no, I would do miniseries. I think would be better. And Sean came up with. I'm pretty sure. I think I came up with this idea, and then Sean, you came up with the title, which was the Ian Fleming's
James Bond.
James Bond or whatever. And then it's and then it's so it could be let's say if you do Dr. No or whatever. It'd be tough to do Casino Royale yet again because they just had one. But I mean, it is what it is. It's the first one. But just do the books and whatever time it takes. So if Casino Royale, the novel, it's pretty short. It could probably be a 2-episode miniseries to start the new series off.
Yeah.
And then the next one would be Live and Let Die. And that could be probably 3-episode miniseries, an hour episode each.
Yeah.
3 acts, and then you do it that way. So you could do Ian Fleming's James Bond, and then it'd be Casino Royale. And it'd be Ian Fleming's James Bond, Live and Let Die, Moonraker, whatever.
The books have their own continuity and their own story arcs. Felix Leiter runs the gamut. And the thing is, and we're talking about the Blofeld trilogy, and all of that's lost in the movies because they just pick and choose books to adapt a movie. And some of them, Live and Let Die, the movie really suffers because the problem is that they had already lifted action scenes from that book and put them in the other movies. So then once they got to Live and Let Die, it's like you've cherry picked everything. Now it's like the fun is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like where's that scene where he's like he's being dragged under the boat with that was in the book. So I mean, I would like look. We all love the movies. I would prefer if they alongside the movies do like a streaming thing where they just adapt the books. Period. Like make them in the 50s and 60s. Like make them in the Cold War and stuff, so that they'll make complete sense and within their context, and dive into the sex and the drinking and the racism. It's like I'm fine with all those things because that's the way they were back then, right? I remember Felix Leiter going on a whole diatribe about not being able to say the N-word anymore, right? To Bond. It's always funny because Fleming has other people do the racial diatribes, and Bond sort of bristles at them. It's like sort of like he's hiding behind Bond, right? It's like when one guy talks about the blacks and the Chinese creating this new race, in
Dr. No,
right? And Bond bristles like like that, and it's like, yeah, shut up, Ian Fleming. You agree with this other guy. That's why you're writing the dialogue, right? But I would say dive into all that stuff. Do that. Like I know that's politically incorrect today, but you know what? History is history. History exists. You can't bubble wrap it. And Bond, I think, is best in the Cold War. And in the hard drinking, hard womanizing days of the 50s and 60s, right?
Yeah.
That's the time period he is in. So then you don't have to worry about. I think what's happened is that they're so concerned about coming up with a new gadget or new technology, but we're in the future. Like my phone can do a lot of cool stuff on its own. I don't need these extra things. Like it's almost like in order to make James Bond super like advanced, you'd have to make it like Star Trek. Like he'd have to have like a transporter or something crazy, right? Because what James Bond had back then was like forward-thinking technology where like he had just like a little thing here where you could breathe and you're like, okay, that's all you needed. It's like a little thing. It's like, okay, that's fine. But like, we're not that far from that, right? So it's like the next step would be like, what? You just put like a little plug on your nose and now you can breathe in the water forever. Like it's like, but how could he have that? Like we're smarter now, right?
Yeah.
You need James Bond to be like a man of like action and stuff. What are your thoughts on that, Steve?
Well, I agree with you guys because I think the reason why the Daniel Craig series is suffering now is because they're trying to put it into modern era and it doesn't fit. And to put it into modern era, they feel they have to strip off everything that's fun about Bond. So then it's just a joyless, muddling like slog through these movies. I mean, there's good action pieces here and there, don't get me wrong. But the fun and joy of Bond, I've said this before, no one wants to be Daniel Craig's Bond. No one wants.
Right.
Everyone wants to be Connery or more. Like maybe Brosnan, right?
Yeah.
But no one wants to be Daniel Craig's Bond because it looks miserable. He's always leaving MI5 or MI6. I can't remember which number he is. He's always like, he's got like liver problems because he's got a drinking problem and blah, blah. Like we have to deal with it. Well, we don't have a drinking problem, but we have to deal with this sort of crap ourselves. I want to see my cinematic hero have to go through it too. Like that doesn't comfort me. I'm like, oh shit, even James Bond's vulnerable. Like I think James Bond is a product of his time. You could say, people always say, well, is a book good if it's not relatable 30 years from now or 40 years from now? But that's kind of unfair to me because you don't know how human beings are going to go. Like you can't really figure out, you can figure out where technology is going, but you can't figure out where human beings are going to go. Right? Like the attitudes now, I never could have forecasted this to happen ever.
Oh yeah, no way.
So, I think it fits in the 50s and 60s. I think that's where it belongs. I think taking it out of there sort of lessens it and it takes away the fun and what makes James Bond James Bond. So yeah, I think that's a terrific idea, and I hope they do it at some point.
Yeah, well, I mean, and they got to focus more, as you were saying, like, where's the gambling?
Yeah.
And like I mean, they change. Like, he plays baccarat, which I actually play on my on an app I have. I lost 10 grand the other night, which was brutal. But anyways, it's good. It's not real. It's not real gambling. It's just this. But
yeah,
that
but they
that's
changed it to Texas Hold'em in
yeah, and,
Yeah.
I read it
because they're like, oh, no one's gonna know what baccarat is. Well, why don't you tell the story then? What the hell happened to storytelling? Just
Right.
you explain baccarat to like an audience. Like, what the flip? Like, yeah.
he plays it in Honor Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing too, like actually baccarat is like super easy to play.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. But I read I read an analysis where they were saying that like I mean they're saying that this is why they changed it, because baccarat is still a game of chance, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not really in control of too much. Now the way that they play it is that they actually have it like one guy's playing against the others, and that the boot gets or the shoe gets passed around.
Yeah.
But really, if you're playing it in a normal casino, you're literally just betting on the player or the banker, and the player and the banker aren't real people. They're just two entities.
Yeah.
You're not the player, and the dealer's not the banker. It's just two entities. Anyway, so it's a game of chance. You're betting on what's going to happen. And they're saying that the Ian Fleming character of Bond is like, he's just throwing caution to the wind. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm good. I'll bet 100 grand on this. Boom, I don't care. Like, he's going to take any chances he can get. Like he's a risk taker, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they're saying that they wanted to make Daniel Craig more like he's more thought, like, because Texas Hold'em, there's some bluffing
Strategy
involved.
They want to give him
more
agency.
Yeah, right. And the thing is that I get it. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But I'm like thinking, I think the real reason is that they didn't feel like explaining baccarat.
Yeah.
I don't think like this guy gave this big philosophical thing. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. I'm like, but I don't think that's
there's no drama in it on the screen if he's playing on chance and stuff, right? Like he has to like in Casino Royale. I remember like he's taking a break and he's losing. And the guy goes, "Oh, do you want a chicken or stirring?" He's like, "I don't care," whatever. He's all mad and stuff. Yeah, no, it fits. I understood. Like at the time when they were making the movie, and I heard that it was going to be Texas Hold'em, I was like, "Of course it's going to be. It's going to be the dumbest, lowest common denominator gambling game, right?" And of course, like when you see it, it's like, yeah, they had to tell that story of him struggling and cleverly winning the game rather than, just betting on chance and,
and just winning. Yeah.
Yeah. My problem with the Daniel, I don't know. I'll say this one thing about Daniel Craig.
Yeah. All right. Do it.
My problem with the Daniel Craig books, the movies, is that they take the wrong lessons from the books, because like you could correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. Like in the books, the two mopey Bonds I remember were Quantum of Solace from the short story where he's where he hears about other people's affairs and stuff, and he muses like, oh, I would like to, live that normal life, right?
I really liked that story though. To be honest with you, I thought it was so good.
Yeah, and the first book, Casino Royale. In that book, he's all mopey and stuff, and he wants to live a normal life and stuff, and he at one point he gets injured and he's on a hospital bed and he's talking to his two other Matthews and this other guy, and he's like, like, what is this all for? What's the point? So stupid. Like, maybe I'm the bad guy and all that. And they're like, oh, you hit your head and all that, and shut up. and then he and then he hooks up with Vesper, and then they have this normal life together. But then they become familiar with each other, and then they're sort of like stuck in a like an old married couple. They're stuck in
right.
And they do the same thing, same routine. Then she kills herself and leaves a note saying, "Oh, I was a KGB agent all along," or whatever, or Smirsh or something.
Smirsh or whatever.
And it was Smirsh, right? And then he gets so incensed and he gets snapped back into being the Bond that you know. But my point to that is he's Moby Bond, but like it's a means to an end. Like they're telling a story. It's a story arc. He's not
Right.
a mopey Bond for the rest of the thing. Like, that's not his thing. It's he's learning a lesson. So at the end of the book, he's back to being man of action James Bond who hates women and stuff. Like he said, I think he literally says the bitch is dead or something. I think that's how.
That's like literally the last thing.
Yeah, the last thing.
Yeah.
But then in the next one, in Live and Let Die, he's man of action. He's punching guys in the shark tanks and stuff. It's like they were using mopey Bond for, it wasn't the character, it was mopey Bond for a story arc, for like a heroic journey and learning a lesson. It wasn't supposed to be his overarching character, like that he's like a mopey Bond all the freaking time. He's just, in sort of a down phase, and then he learns a lesson, that's it. But in Daniel Craig, it's like he's always this asshole. He's always a guy that's like, I don't know about this. I'm gonna drink now. Oh, Jesus Christ! Like, it's like going on 5 movies now. It's like, what the hell? Anyway.
Yeah. No. The thing is that this is the quotes that I always do, and you can take it for books or comics. It's like, oh, this is from the book, or this is from the comics, and then you start to say, it's like, okay, fine, you read your one comic or your one book. It's like, but that is not the full character, right? James Bond is not just the Casino Royale first book James Bond.
Yeah.
He's also the Thunderball James Bond, which has a co-writer, right?
Yeah.
He's also the From Russia with Love James Bond, which is like whatever. That's not the second book or whatever. Like the way the movies are all wonky order.
Yeah.
He's also the Moonraker one, right? Where he's just literally he's not even on a mission in that. The guy just says, "Oh, can you go check this guy out? I think he's cheating at baccarat or whatever." And the guy's like, "Shit, he is cheating." And you're like, "Why is this guy Drax, who's a super multi-bazillionaire? What the hell is he cheating at cards for? Like, what is he at? Who cares?" And they're like, well, yeah, that's weird. And they start investigating him, and there's like this whole thing where he's got that missile and everything. You're like,
it's an A-bomb, yeah.
And it's again, so it's like, so Bond and Sean, you pointed this out first out of anybody. It's like, where's all the stuff where he's enjoying food and he's enjoying life and he's getting a drink, and it's like he's ordering. He's like, and literally, I'm getting hungry. I'm reading these books. I'm like, God damn, I'm so hungry,
man. Like just like descriptive food.
Yeah,
you get hungry. It's like
you get hungry.
Oh, yeah, that coffee tastes good. It's like, wait a minute, I'm just reading this book.
Yeah, no, I know. And the thing is, it's like they keep saying, "Oh, it's the book." Well, where's that stuff? Look, you cannot pick and choose what you want from the comic or the book in order to serve the story you're telling, and then throw that in my face and say, "Oh, that's from the comics or that's from the novels." It's like, yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff from the novels, and you didn't take all of it, so you're only cherry picking what you want and say that's from the novels. It's like, when I read these novels, I got the sense that it's a little bit of Sean Connery and a little bit of Roger Moore mixed up together, and that's sort of what you're getting, right? Because there's a little bit of Roger Moore in there too. I think it's maybe like 70% Sean Connery and 30% Roger Moore isms in these books from when I'm reading them, right? Yeah. So where are you getting this, like, oh, he's always like pissed off and depressed and doesn't care? And like, which book was that from? Well, that was in Casino Royale. Okay, well, that was in Casino Royale to, as you said, tell a story, and then it's over. So that's not the entire character now, right? Like, it's I don't want to bring in comic book counterpoints to this, but like, if Snake Eyes spoke in one issue of G.I. Joe, and that happens to be the one you read, that doesn't mean he always speaks. He does, or whatever. I know he doesn't speak, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, he does speak in one issue. That's true.
In one issue. Okay, so there
Scarlet,
you go.
Anyway, yeah.
To Scarlet. So yeah, he speaks in one issue one time to Scarlet. Let's now make that the character because that was in the comics. It's like, okay. And James Bond books, there's a lot of books, and there's and it's like to pick one focused point and be like, this happened one time. Like James Bond beats up the women. Listen, if he needs, like this Bambi and Thumper, he's just gonna wipe the floor with these two chicks. It's like, who do you think you're dealing with here? He slaps people around. He slaps the girls around, and Dr. No too. It's like, listen, I'm gonna take care of business on this, right? Oh, well, there's one time where he didn't do it, so we're going to focus on that. It's like, really? Like, that's not what the character is. You need to read all the books and have a feeling for what this character is, and then take that. Like, Action Comics, the first few issues, Superman's kind of a dick. He breaks shit. He goes he breaks this guy's taxi cab. It's like, well, that guy needs that cab, doesn't he? Like, so he does a lot of wonky shit. That doesn't mean we base everything on that. Let's go through some of these comments. You like? Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool to do.
Yeah. Yes, not until License to Kill. And that was crazy when that happened.
Well, he loses his. Now, I don't remember if he gets limbs back or not because he lost a couple of limbs in that book.
He's back in the books.
Yeah. He's back in Thunderball, and I don't remember if he's missing body parts. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Drax is and Drax. Well, I love Moonraker. The Moonraker is the guilty pleasure. I love it. I don't care what anyone else says. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I've seen it so many times. But it is not the book, and the book is actually really good. I really like the book, but it's not the movie. But it's not a Sean Connery. When I read the books, I think of Sean Connery in all of the books that I've read because I read them after the fact. Except for On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I think of Lazenby, but everyone else, I always think of Sean Connery. Even when I read ones that weren't his, I think of his face.
Sean Connery, yeah.
Moonraker is fun. I agree, it's fun. All right, guys. Any other final statements about Sean Connery or the Bonds? Do one last round, one last go around.
Sean Connery was the man. He was. You don't have Bond without Connery. I mean, I know it's a it's a cliche to say that, but it's true. You don't have it without him. He introduced a new kind of hero, I guess, because if you think of portrayals of British, you didn't have a lot of British action stars, to the best of my knowledge. A lot of them, if you were portraying a British man in a Hollywood film, he was very like stiff. He was sort of like, or he was clever, but he wasn't manly. And this was a manly British man taking care of business. Didn't happen that often. You can't be a cinephile or a movie watcher and not heard of James Bond. And if you have, you probably know it's Sean Connery. Like, Sean Connery is one of the greatest movie stars of all time, and for good reason.
Yeah. What did you guys, Sean, hold on. What did you think? Because I'd heard that Patrick McGoohan was looked at for Bond. So he was in The Prisoner, and he was Danger Man, or the Secret Agent was depending on I don't know where you live. It's actually, I started watching Secret Agent. It's called Secret Agent on Tubi, but then when you watch it, it says Danger Man. So I'm like, I guess it's. But I don't know if I would have I love him in The Prisoner, and I finished watching The Prisoner. I think it's like 10 out of 10. It's genius. But I don't know if I would have liked him as Bond, I guess. But I've seen Sean Connery, so it's hard to go back. But anyways, do you guys know Patrick McGoohan? Have you seen him?
Yeah.
What do you think about him as James Bond? Like, do you think that would have been as good, or?
He's a little to me, he always struck me as like slightly sinister. I don't know why. Like, he always struck me as like the guy who's going to turn out to be the villain. So it would have been weird to see him.
Sean, what are your thoughts on that? And then what's your closing thoughts on Sean Connery?
Just to Steve's point, I have to look this up, but there was a 1954 TV version of the 1953 novel Casino Royale. Of course, they made James Bond American. His name was Jimmy Bond.
Jimmy Bond, yeah.
I think Peter Lorre was the villain, so that's cool. But
that's cool.
And listen, if you're gonna cast a Bond villain in the 50s, it's Peter Lorre.
Jesus Christ!
Peter Lorre, casting.
That is dream casting.
Yeah, but yeah, Patrick McGoohan. I think Sean Connery is better at portraying just the cool, suave, understated sort of thing. There's no effort to his cool in those movies and stuff. And he was always like that. He's like that in what's the name of that movie? That Disney movie. Darby O'Gill and the Little People. He's in it. I love that movie. Anyways, but yeah, Sean Connery defined the whole super spy, gentleman spy thing. That everybody, like, in like Flynn and all that, like freaking A Man Called Flintstone, like everybody hates, right? And still to this day, like the Mission Impossible movies are Bond movies, the way we want them and not the mopey bullshit ones. But the books did it too. But like if like you couldn't ask for a better screen presence than Sean Connery. And honestly, like I know you're saying, J-Man, that the Bond of the book seems like Sean Connery and Roger Moore smushed into one. I feel like Sean Connery's the better representation of the two.
I agree with you.
It just seems like that's what Bond would be. I know that's not the visual representation according to Ian Fleming, because you could see what that looks like, but I think Sean Connery acted a lot like the Bond of the books,
Right.
and no one's ever really come close. And all of the portrayals afterward are either taking elements of it or running away from it. Like a certain somebody right now. So yeah, he defined the thing, and he defined it not just for the Bond franchise, but for the entire gentleman spy, action spy genre. Everything that's ever come after that. Kim Possible, everything.
Yeah. Impossible. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to. We still have some time. I wanted to show you guys this, and I showed Steve this already. I don't know if I showed you, Sean. Have you guys seen the Folio Society?
No.
So they do very, very high quality. Look, it's like $80. But they do. So if you look at, like, let's say, like I'm probably gonna buy Thunderball. So check this out. This is Thunderball, and they do these amazing editions. Like, look at this. This is a hardcover sleeve, and that's the book. And then, like, you can see, like, inside the
illustrations,
right?
Yeah.
And Steve, they've got Stephen King books now.
Oh,
they've got like Misery and stuff like that.
That's...
but like these are really nice, like Spy Who Loved Me, Dr. No, like, and I don't even remember seeing these last time, but like, it's awesome. So like, check out like the the art here is crazy. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
Right, like. So it's like you get all these. So they're about $80 Canadian. I'm thinking I'm going to do. These are going to be sort of my my gifts, sort of, for like birthdays and anniversaries and that kind of a thing. Because I'm really running out of stuff to buy, and I don't want just another. I could just get another action figure, but I mean, I buy those all the time. I don't know if you guys see on my Facebook, I bought all the Kane figures.
Nice.
I have every Garrison Kane figure in the packaging now. Even the big, super big one. I'll show that on the panelists thing when we talk on Sunday. But yeah, I think those are great. So if you're looking for, I'm not affiliated with the Folio Society, but if you're looking for high quality, they have everything. So if you guys know of other people who like certain books, like anything that's like a very big book or whatever, it's like Criterion Edition movies.
Yeah.
Right. But for books, like they have Handmaid's Tale, which I'm never going to read because I just don't care. But, if someone, likes, no, I'm just trying to think like what's a popular, what's a popular,
they'll have like Tolkien and stuff though, right?
I don't know if Stephen King,
like Lord of the Rings.
See like Misery, like signed edition. Oh, that's signed by the artist.
Yeah.
Right? 280, but like, they've got like, so there's Misery, and it's like, look at that.
Oh, that's pretty awesome, man.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, look at that. That is scary.
Yeah.
That is scary shit. That's frightening. That is absolutely frightening. So, but like, that's all right there, right? So it's like, they're very good quality. Now they're not all that expensive, but they've got. I'm probably just gonna get the James Bond ones, but like The Shining. I think that's the only two they have. So they're probably Starship Troopers.
Oh wow! I read that book over and over as a kid.
Oh, seriously? That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Do
it's
they
a
have
really
Frankenstein?
oh, they should have that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because I mean, you don't have to pay anything for it.
No, did I spell it
Wow.
wrong? Maybe
No.
maybe it's too. They do have Dracula. Whoa, $450. Why is it so expensive? Oh, limited 750 hand numbered copies.
Damn. But I mean, look at that illustration.
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, like look at that. That's cool. Like they really do. Oh, it comes with the slipcase and all that. So it's like they do these special editions. So just check every so often for something. I don't know if your parents are
Yeah.
into any of that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start slowly because they don't. It's not out of print or anything. Like that's been there forever. So it's like they'll just keep it unless they're limited. So I think I might grab all those James Bonds just slowly but surely. Just grab one a year or two, one every or two a
Yeah.
year or something like that.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, we're gonna end it off there. I think this was pretty good, ranking all the bonds or whatever. If anybody has any ideas of what you want to see covered on the Phantom Zone, let me know. So we're gonna do Danger Room tomorrow, and that'll be open forum for everyone. So that's just how it's gonna be. We'll see how it goes. But otherwise, we're all gonna be back on Sunday talking about the latest. We're gonna talk about Loki. We're gonna talk about Superman and Lois because that was crazy shit that happened this week on
Yep.
Superman and Lois. We're gonna talk about Loki. We could talk about we're gonna talk about the comic releases. I'm bringing that back, and we're gonna actually bring that back proper because I feel like I just got all these. I got X-Men. I feel that the comics are not getting enough love, and we're getting back to that hardcore. We've been reading them, and it's great and fun to talk about Superman and Lois and Loki and all this other stuff, and like Ben Affleck and Matt Reeves and all this stuff. That's great. But I want to talk about the comics, which is the heart of it for me. So we're going to get back to that. So that's going to be on a new segment called the Panelists panel, like comic panel, haha, clever, devilishly clever. So that we're gonna talk about that then. And amazing fans, if anyone wants to talk to me about a character they love, we can do that as well. So just let me know in the comments. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.